Today's lesson is badminton star Dai Ziying on top of the world. Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Candice.
And today we're going to be looking at probably what is the most famous sports person in Taiwan right now, Ms. Dai Ziying. She's a big badminton player. Have you ever seen any of her games, Candice?
No, unfortunately not. Though I know that badminton is a very popular sport here in Taiwan, along with ping pong. I'm not really familiar with all the stars of the game.
Okay, yeah. Badminton, along with taekwondo and weightlifting. That's another sport that Taiwan does very well in at the Olympics these days. And Dai Ziying, I saw her, I think it was the gold medal match at the 2020, actually the 21 Tokyo Olympics. It was really exciting. Unfortunately, she didn't win, but it was a great game. I don't remember if I'd ever watched a full badminton match from beginning to end, but I was really riveted. I was very glued to the screen. And unfortunately, even though she played well, it was close at points. She did lose that one, but she lost very graciously. I thought the way she handled it was great, and I definitely became a fan. So let's look at the first part of today's lesson as we get into learning more about badminton star Dai Ziying. Badminton star Dai Ziying on top of the world. 28-year-old Kaohsiung native Dai Ziying has brought Taiwanese badminton to new levels with her world-class skills. At only 22 years old, she became the #1 player in women's singles, a title that she held for a record 213 total weeks. All right, welcome back. So the first part of the article begins with this sentence, kind of giving us some basic information about who we're talking about. 28-year-old Kaohsiung native Dai Ziying has brought Taiwanese badminton to new levels with her world-class skills. To bring or to take something to new levels is kind of to surpass people, to do better than other people, to set new records, for example. And she definitely has world-class skills. Now, she's 28 now, but she's been a top player for quite a while, hasn't she?
Yeah, she started the game quite young, and at only 22 years old, she became the #1 player in women's singles, a title that she held for a record 213 total weeks. So in sports, I think that must be a very long record, and she got that record in women's singles. So she is a world-class player, which means that she's up there with the great players all around the world. She's at the top of her game, and she achieved that title as a champion in women's singles by bringing her A game every time.
Absolutely, yeah. If you think that a year is 52 weeks, right? So that's like 4 years. She was the #1 women's singles player. That's one person against another. Of course, in badminton, we also have doubles with 2 players on each side. She was the #1 female player in badminton. All right, we'll continue to talk about this in a moment, but now it's time to listen to the second paragraph in our article. When Dai began playing badminton in the 3rd grade, it was instantly apparent that she had an extraordinary talent for the sport. Dai's father, an avid badminton player himself, became her biggest supporter. He searched for a school with the best badminton program and found her a personal coach, a luxury for Taiwanese players. Dai soon became the youngest player ever to compete in Taiwan's 1st division, and by 15 years old, she was playing in international tournaments.
大家好，第二部分我们看到单字 avid， 这个字是形容词，指热衷的、酷爱的或是渴望的。像是 Vincent is an avid collector of rare coins。Vincent 是个热衷收集稀有硬币的收藏家。也可以说 Tiffany is an avid surfer and goes surfing every weekend. Tiffany 热衷于冲浪，她每个周末都去冲浪。接着我们看到名词 supporter， 指支持者或是拥护者。例如 Thousands of supporters gathered in the stadium to watch their team play. 成千上万的支持者聚集在体育场观看他们的球队比赛。 或是 Many of his supporters came out to watch him give a speech. 他的许多支持者都出来观看他的演讲。另外补充这个字的动词 support, S-U-P-P-O-R-T, support, 表示支持的意思。举例来说 Howard supports his wife's decision to start a new job. Howard 支持妻子开始一份新工作的决定。或者My parents always support me and try to help me make the right decisions in life. 我的父母总是支持我，并努力帮助我做出人生中的正确抉择。
And we're back. So, Dai Tzu-ying, number 1, or maybe now number 2 female badminton player in the world. Now, in the next paragraph, we're going to kind of go back in time a little bit and find out some of her backstory, her history, her biography, where it all began, in other words.
Yeah, when I was playing badminton in the 3rd grade, it was instantly apparent that she had an extraordinary talent for sport. So if you think about it, how old are kids in the 3rd grade? And her father was able to spot her talent because he himself was an avid badminton player. So when we say something becomes apparent or something is apparent, we mean that it's pretty obvious. It's pretty clear. It's easy to see. You know, sometimes when you see something great happening, you just know it. You get goosebumps. You get a feeling. So I think when her father saw her playing badminton, he was able to spot it, and he could see that she already had the basic talent that would allow her to achieve great heights in the game.
Absolutely. Her extraordinary talent, her unprecedented, something extraordinary, unprecedented, never happened before, very rare. It's really unusual to see someone, especially at that young age, who clearly has so much skill and talent. And yeah, as you mentioned, her father really knew a lot about badminton. He was an avid badminton player. If you're avid, you're enthusiastic, you're passionate, it's something you really like. And he became her biggest supporter. Well, you can be someone's supporter if you're just a fan, but of course, if you're a member of their family or their friend, it might be a little bit more of an active thing. You're going to the games, you're helping them coach, you're helping them train, you're cheering them on from the stands, that kind of thing. You're definitely a fan, maybe even a super fan. And he really took an active part in developing her talent. It says he searched for a school with the best badminton program and found her a personal coach, a luxury for Taiwanese players. Wow, that's pretty cool. So he found a school, probably one of those sports center junior or senior high schools with the best badminton program and a personal coach. So this isn't just the school team coach, this is her own coach, kind of like a private tutor that you might hire for your kids or for someone if they're trying to improve their, math skills or something. But in this case, it was a badminton coach, a badminton tutor, but of course, since it's a sport, we call it a coach. And that's a luxury for Taiwanese players. A luxury is something special. It probably costs extra money. It's something most people wouldn't bother to do or couldn't afford to do. Flying first class is a luxury.
Yeah, and to add to that, it's definitely and another example would be, for example, an expensive piece of jewelry. We'd consider that a luxury.
Absolutely.
Or a really expensive car. We'd consider that a luxury. But in this case, it was probably something that most people don't have access to due to the cost or maybe due to the availability of coaches in Taiwan. So maybe the family had to sacrifice some money, maybe they had to save some money in order to pay for the coach. So that's considered a luxury, something that isn't exactly accessible to most people unless you have the means to pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I knew a guy in high school who was a very good tennis player. He ended up playing at Wimbledon, and his tennis coaches cost his family hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. It was very, very expensive. So that is definitely a luxury. And then as we get to the end of the paragraph, we kind of learn about some of her early successes, right?
Yeah, Dai soon became the youngest player ever to compete in Taiwan's first division. And by 15 years old, she was playing in international tournaments. So she was really really quite young. I mean, imagine being only 15 years old and you are the youngest player ever to compete in the first division. Now, the first division is the top division. The best players play in the first division. And then at 15 years old, she was also playing in international tournaments. Now, a tournament is usually a competition where you play at different rounds, and then the winner of each round will play against the other winner of another game, and they will keep going through the levels until they reach the semi-final and then the final. And then the two finalists will compete against each other for a big prize, usually.
That's right. Yeah.
So, for example, Wimbledon could be considered a tournament, or even the Olympics is considered a tournament.
Sure, absolutely. World Cup finals for soccer, for football. It's kind of a tournament, and it'll stretch out over a few days, maybe a weekend, or some of them even weeks or months as they go on. So there you go. She was competing probably with players who are 3, 4, 5 years older than her when she was just 15 from all around the world. So very talented young lady. We're going to be learning more about her history and some of her great achievements in the next part of the story in the third paragraph. So let's give it a listen right now. Since going professional, Dai has won back-to-back Asian championships, 3 World Tour finals, and an Olympic medal. Her unpredictable and aggressive playing style always keeps her opponents on their toes. She took the #1 spot in women's singles in 2016 and held that title for the highest number of total weeks in history. Dai never imagined that her career would reach such heights, but her increasing success has brought with it new challenges.
第三部分我们看到单字 unpredictable， 这个字是形容词，指无法预测的或是难以预料的，像是 The island's weather can be unpredictable， 那座岛上的气候难以预测，或是 Police officers have to be wary of the criminal because of his unpredictable behavior， 由于那名罪犯的行径难以预料，警员需要小心提防。另外补充这个字的反义词 predictable， P-R-E-D-I-C-T-A-B-L-E predictable 表示可预测的或是可预期的。举例来说 The song followed a predictable melody, so I found it boring. 这首歌采用着一个可预测的旋律，所以我觉得很无聊。也可以说 Matthew was a very predictable person who always sticks to his schedule. Matthew 是一个非常容易预测的人，他总是坚持自己的行程安排。最后我们看到单字 opponent，这个字是名词，指比赛中的对手或是竞争者、反对者。举例来说 In the chess tournament, David beat his final opponent. 在西洋棋锦标赛中 David 击败了他最后的对手。也可以说 The new law drew criticism from its opponents. 新法招致反对者的批评。另外补充这个字的动词 oppose O-P-P-O-S-E, oppose 指反对，像是 Dale was the only one in the group who opposed the idea. Dale 是团队中唯一一个反对这个点子的人。或是 Environmentalists oppose the construction of a resort on the island. 环保主义者反对在岛上建造度假村。
All right, so we are back. So Dai Zuying, very talented young badminton player. That was clear from an early age. By 15, she was playing with some of the best players from all around the world. And then we read, since going professional, Dai has won back-to-back Asian championships, 3 World Tour finals, and an Olympic medal. That is quite a resume of success for her. And this is all since going professional. Now, this is something that we can talk about basically meaning it's your job, all right? If you're doing something in a professional way, you're doing it as a job, not as a hobby, not as something you do on the weekend just for fun. You're doing it as something that makes you money. That's your career. That's how you earn your pay. So the opposite would be an amateur, right? An amateur, A-M-A-T-E-U-R. She decided to really focus on badminton, become a professional. She's probably getting paid by different companies to wear their clothes or use their equipment. And of course, as you travel around the world, you would win prize money too as a professional. So that's when she decided to really focus on badminton and go for the gold. And she won many golds, back-to-back Asian championships, 3 world finals, and an Olympic medal. I guess that's the one that I saw. That phrase back-to-back just means she won it one year and then the next year following. She didn't skip a year with no gap in between.
And to add to that, a professional, you also compete at a higher level.
Well, sure,
the stakes are much higher. And the next line reads, her unpredictable and aggressive playing style always keeps her opponents on their toes. Now, if you think about the words unpredictable is just you're not able to tell what's going to happen next. So, for example, the weather could be really unpredictable. Maybe sunshine in the morning and then immediately in the afternoon we have rain again and we don't know when the sun's going to come out or when it's going to rain. So when people are unpredictable, you don't know what they're going to do next. So in sports, that's actually a very good quality to have, to be unpredictable, because your opponent never knows what to expect. Also, I think this word aggressive is interesting. How would you characterize aggressive, Mike?
Aggressive would mean she plays with a lot of force. She plays with a lot of passion. She's always kind of on the attack. She's not one of those players who just hit simple shots in a predictable way and then hopes the opponent makes a mistake. No, she will try to do strange things, try to hit the shuttlecock, which is the thing that the players hit in badminton. She'll hit it hard with a lot of power, and she'll try to force the other player to make mistakes rather than just sort of playing defensively and waiting for the other player to make a mistake. She tries to force the mistakes. And of course, this style, being unpredictable, being aggressive, it keeps her opponents on their toes. Your opponent is the person you are playing against, your rival, kind of like your enemy, but you're not angry with them, but you want to beat them, you want to win, and they want to do the same to you. So the opponents that she's playing against, she keeps them on their toes. When you keep someone on their toes, you're kind of being unpredictable. You're not doing what they expect. Imagine if you're playing in a sport, if you're standing on your toes, it's like you're ready to move, you're ready to jump, you're ready to run, you're ready for action. You're not being lazy. You're not just kind of standing there waiting for things to happen. You're anticipating, you're expecting things to happen, and you're being as prepared as possible. So if someone keeps you on your toes, they always keep you thinking. You're always waiting for the unexpected, for a surprise or something like that. And of course, this had great success. It's really worked for her. And as we read next, she took the #1 spot in women's singles in 2016 and held that title for the highest number of total weeks in history. So that's the beginning of that 213-week run as the #1 women's singles player. That's as long as she was the best player in women's singles badminton. That's very, very impressive.
The paragraph goes on to say that I never imagined that her career would reach such heights, but her increasing success has brought with it new challenges. And of course, when you're a teenager and then a very young adult, playing in a very professional and high-pressure sport, of course, there are going to be some challenges. So we get to talk a bit about those challenges in the next paragraph.
That's right. But now it's time to listen to our Chinese teacher. So let's go off and do that.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第3部分的第1句写到，自从成为职业选手，小戴接连赢得了亚锦赛、3次世界巡回赛总决赛和1面奥运奖牌。那文中是用到 since 来表达自从……我们来整理相关用法。since 可以当介系词或是连接词去表达自从……从什么什么以来。那么之后是接表示过去时间点的名词或者是子句。 那在这个用法当中，主要子句则常常会搭配完成式啊，或者是完成进行式去表达这个事情已经持续了一段时间了。我们来看2个例句哦。I haven't heard from her since graduation. 自从毕业以来，我都没有她的消息。那这时候句子里面的 since 是介系词，那么主要子句的动词时态我们则是用现在完成式。再看个例句 Hank has been playing video games since he got home from school. Hank 从放学回家后呢，就一直都在打电动。那句子里面的 since后面是接子句嘛，所以它是连接词。那么主要子句的动词时态我们用 has been playing， 这个是现在完成进行式。好，那要补充一下，如果 since 后方子句的这个主词跟主要子句的主词相同，我们其实可以用 since 加动词 ing 的形式去表达。像文中写说 since going professional, Di has won ... 这里的 since going professional 也可以写作 since she went professional， 那只是我们把 since 后面这个 she went 这个部分呢直接改成 going 了。那么课文下一句写到形容词 aggressive， 我们来学它的字首字根。首先要介绍的是 grad， 这个字根表示 go 或者是 step， 它有步行啊步骤的意思。那它也有可能会拼作 gradu 或者是 gred gree gress。好，那么在 aggressive 这个字当中，字首 ag 是来自 ad， 只是因为 ad 碰到 g 开头的字根，所以拼成 ag。那这个字首表示朝向。再来 gress 表示步行，朝向某个人一步一步逼近，那就会有侵略侵犯的感受嘛。也许可以用这样的方式去联想到 aggressive， 它是形容积极进取的、侵略性的，或者是有负攻击性、有冲劲的那种意思。我们顺便补充几个有相同字根的单字。第一个是 Congress， C-O-N-G-R-E-S-S， 那它的字首 C-O-N 表示一起，G-R-E-S-S 表示步行。当所有的人一起走去某个地方，去那边讨论事情，也许就可以用这样的方式去联想 Congress， 它有议会、代表大会的意思。当字首 C 大写，则是用来指美国国会。第二个补充的是 progress， 它的字首 P-R-O 表示向前， G-R-E-S-S 表示步行走。那么向前走应该很容易联想到有这种发展进展的语义，所以 progress 就是进步进展。第三个补充的是 regress， 它的字首 R-E 表示往回， G-R-E-S-S 表示步行或是走，合在一起regress 就是倒退、退步或是退化咯。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Apparent. The improvement in her skills from practicing was quite apparent. Extraordinary. Even as a child, Mozart's musical abilities were extraordinary. Luxury. A long vacation is a great luxury for many people. Tournament. Our school will have a volleyball tournament next week. Professional. You can earn a lot of money as a professional golfer. Aggressive. If you want to achieve your goals, you have to be aggressive. Opponent. Misha made many strong arguments while debating her opponent. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Mike.
I'm Candice.
See you next time.